Here we go with Eros, greeting routine, sit. Great little way to practice his sit stay. He knows that Ronnie has a treat waiting for him. I can even now, after practicing a little sit stay, we can walk around him. And, it took a long time for him to get this, but he finally got it. Perfect little sit stay. And no, of course he pops up at the last minute. This is, if you practice this, if you guys choose to practice this at home, his sticking point in this exercise is when you're done doing everything and you're walking back next to him and he starts to think, oh, now I get to go over and get the treat. So he gets anticipatory and he jumps the gun. So make sure that you really make sure he waits. And see how this leash is always loose? And if he jumps the gun, you just tap it a little bit. We just got his regular little collar on, nothing special or fancy, just a regular collar and just a regular 6-foot leash, no fancy contraptions. You just tap it and he goes back, and then he's going to be on your left with your right hand. You pat his chest and say, "Go say hi," or do a finger, send him over there. Did he have it, Ronnie? Did he eat it? There's a treat. Come, and then we practice come. Good boy. And then we'll just do it one more time. And this little circle you do with him, sit, just really helps. Sometimes he gets confused and he forgets what we're doing. But once I get him there, he's doing pretty well. At least he's staying there. That's the whole thing about the stay. He needs to stay there. And you just have to practice in a very specific way and stay calm and just gradually, slowly but surely mold this kind of behavior by doing it this way every time. And so now I'm going to send him over to Ronnie. The leash is loose, it's never tight. Go! Goes over there, grab the leash, eats a treat. Did he eat the treat? Yes. Okay, come! Just wants to run back to you is all he wants. Good boy. And that's your little greeting routine. You got the sit stay, stepping away, handing the person a treat. He waits while you walk around, send him over, releasing him to go say hi, and then you got the come in there too. So it's a great little exercise to practice. Even if you do it once a day with somebody, just family members, whoever that you can practice with, just like what we just did here, you'll keep getting better and better over time. We're walking him up to the mat, sit, have him sit. He always wants to sit facing you. Sometimes you have to just very gently kind of mold him into the spot you want him to be in, and he'll stay there then. And then I have him, no, he loves his mat, so nope, make sure he waits there. And you notice throughout these little clips how gentle I'm being with him. You have to be really gentle and calm. And then go and down, and he'll go down on the mat. And it took a while to transition, good, from him being down on the mat to just being down on any surface on the floor. Like if you just wanted to not pull the mat out and you just wanted to practice a random downstay somewhere in your house or your yard, this is how I got him to the point where he could do that. And we're almost there where I don't need the mat anymore. Good, but I think you should do this for a while. So at first I would practice this mat exercise. I would do all kinds of things like even pull on the leash like that. You see, like he won't get up because he knows, good, that I didn't release him. Do you see the way I'm rewarding him? It's a very, very specific way. I'm placing the reward on the mat. No. Good, he waits until I withdraw and he takes it off the mat. He's not hyper and standing up and trying to grab the food. He's staying in a downstay. You saw me do a walk around stay. You saw me pull on the leash. He knows he's not supposed to get up because I didn't release him yet. And you can start doing things like, as long as you're in a fenced yard or a house, you can drop the leash and walk farther away. You can go, do things in a way you don't normally do them, walk farther away and see how far I am here. And then show him. Yeah, so he knows, he really knows. He's got to stay there until you come back. Good, and gave him a double extra big piece because that was pretty exceptional for this little guy because it took so long to teach him a stay. He just didn't take to it quickly. And so to teach him to do downs off a mat, this is what I've been doing. Okay. So I lead him off the mat and I put him in a down off the mat. Good, and I do the same thing. So what I'm doing in this exercise is, what I've been doing is alternating now. Every other time it's on the floor and off the mat. So it's the same thing, only he's just getting used to being on a regular surface and not having the security of the mat, so that he's getting accustomed to, good, little downstays off the mat. And then, no. See how I said no? He got up before I released him. I said no, and he went back. Okay. Now I'm going to go around this way, and we're just going to try, just kind of in a random spot here, down. And he goes straight down. Great. Can you see from that end? You're behind him, but you can still see he's in a down. Good. And I do it a little bit differently every day. This time, because we're filming, I just did it a little bit differently. And I just do the walk around downstay, which is really the most important thing. If you can do this, that's pretty good, and you're practicing it every day in a couple of different spots, you know, this is really good for him. Okay, and then we end up sit, one last sit here in front of the mat. Go to your mat and then down on the mat again to end it up. Good. And give him little rewards for staying on the mat. And the mat is where I practice the big distractions. Like on the mat, I'm going to drop the leash because he's way more solid on the mat than he is just on regular surface right now, although that's changing. But still, this is the best place to practice the new stuff with him. And I'm going to do something I haven't done before, so shoot me going over there. And I've never walked this far away and opened the gate and left. And see how he got up? So when he makes a mistake, you say no. And very gently take the leash and lead him back. And I'm going to show you how to fix a mistake and how to make him better. Put him back, and he'll put himself back there. And since I know this is difficult for him now, I'm going to remind him down. See if we can get him to do it the right way. In the gate, step out. Same thing as I did last time. Show me. Okay. Same thing I did last time. This time, just one mistake. That was really good. And so, of course, he knows his pattern now. Oh, I'm supposed to stay here, and then if I do, good. And I do something I've never done before, and I do it successfully, I get a big old giant piece that I usually don't get. So I gave him a double reward, and that's how I got him to this point in the first place, is make mistake after mistake. When he finally was successful, big reward, and then he had that, and then we moved on with all the other things. So that's just an example of how to make him better. It takes focus, calmness, concentration to be able to do this for him. And he's not meant to be doing this really, this little breed, but you know, we spent a lot of time, so it just took longer for him to sort of get to where he could have a decent little downstay. And he can get better too, it just takes time. But he's at a really good level, so you can start from here and make him even better if you want. This type of stuff is going to help you with your issues with the other little dogs and any other reactive behavior he might have at home. If you're doing these types of things with him, he's going the opposite way, so to speak, in his mind. He's going from reactive to focused. Okay, sit, he's working for you. Instead of you just being his kind of like caretaker valet that hugs him and kisses him and doesn't really do much with him other than that, give him treats. He's actually working for you, and whenever you do this with him, he gets calmer. Every time he does this, he gets a little bit calmer. You're developing focus and concentration in him, and we're really after the byproduct of doing these things, which is you release him out of his little training, whatever you're doing, and he's a little bit calmer every day on free time. So we're really after the byproduct of what this training does, which is over time stabilizes a dog, makes them less reactive, less neurotic, less hyper, and happier in general, happier and calmer. Go. Now he's free. Take the leash off. Always pick up this this mat because he's going to want to go run on it and hang out. This is not a doggy bed. This little mat is only for this one specific exercise. You send him on, you allow him off, you do the exercise with him. It's an interactive exercise you do with him. You don't just put him on the mat and walk away. So it's really about short little periods of time. Come! I called him away from the camera person because he was jumping on her ankles because he loves her. But that's also right there is an example of his recall. It's really good. It's become good here. But that mat exercise is only to be done specifically exactly the way I just showed you. Nothing different, no deviations from that. Well, I have him in a little sit here, and we're practicing a little bit off the curb because if he's doesn't have a black top backing, you can't see him because he's white and the curb is white. So we just had him come off the curb a little bit in this very quiet street here. And see, I did that walk around, sit, stay. Okay. And we're walking here. If I want to just let him be free, sit, have him sit, go, let him be free. As long as he's got a secure leash and collar. It's just on our little quiet street here. So it's completely safe. And he likes his little walks out here, but it's been good for his training because we get to practice in new places for him and with all kinds of distractions, which makes him better, which makes him more likely to be better in your home. We practice all these things in more places. So now we're going to practice a little downstay. Down. Good. See how easy that is now? Every day we come out and do this. And so he's getting really good at it. Do a little downstay out here. Good. It's his little reward, just as if he was on the mat. But you see how the practicing on the mat has enabled him to start doing a downstay anywhere. Okay, sit and go. And then I'm going to wait for him to get distracted. Let's go over to the curb. If you go that way and I'm there, we can let him, he's likely to be sniffing and get distracted over here in these leaves, and I can practice a couple of come commands. Come on, don't you want to sniff? All dogs want to sniff over here. Do you want to sniff? Well, let's do it like this. He's going to go over towards the camera person. Come. Good boy, good. It's got a great recall. Notice how I'm doing it. I always have the treat in my right hand. Come. Back away. Good. He runs to me, touches my hand, gets a treat. If you don't have a treat, and it's an emergency because I practice and because you'll practice with a treat hopefully, when you don't have a treat, you make this target and he doesn't know that it's empty. So we're going to wait till this car passes by behind us. So he doesn't know the difference. So because you practice with the reward, when you don't have the reward, it works. In an emergency situation, crisis situation, let's hope that never happens, but you'll always have it. Come. With no treat. Good boy. And you can pick him up. He's safe. You got him. You can kiss him and love him up. And everything's good. But always practice with treats in the way that we're showing you, because when you don't have a treat, it'll still work. Okay. Sit. We'll always have him sit before we put him in this crate. Open the door, and he wants to run in there, you see, but you're never holding the leash tight, because if there's a tight leash, you're going to create overexcitement in him. So it's always loose, and you always tap if you need to help him stay where he's at, or you need to stop him from getting up. So loose leash, go. He goes in there, and see how I went like that, and then he goes in there. I give him another treat. This is a routine that we've done. I mean, every day he goes in and out 6-7 times a day. So everybody that handles him does it exactly like this. We feed him in his crate. He sleeps overnight in this crate. He has to sit and wait every time he goes in. If I'm going to take him out, I'm going to stick my hand in there, open the door, stick my hand in there, give him a treat. Because I don't want him just bursting out and running out and see how he's not. And if he tries to come out on you, just say no. Just do this little thing like that. He's after a treat that fell on the ground. That's why he wanted to come out. There you go, bud. So he'll wait, he'll reach in, hook him up to his little collar. It's a whole little routine that adds to the structure in his life. See how he's waiting? He's waiting for me to say, okay. He comes out. And then we always keep this closed because we control his access in and out of the crate. So if he's allowed to run in and out randomly, it just destroys the whole power of this boundary and waiting at this boundary. And so sit, show how we do it again. Go, he goes in there. Come on, bud. So that way, all day long, treat, and then to allow him to come out. Okay, comes out. There you go, buddy. So it's a great little another way to do boundary training, keep him calm because he has to sit and wait each time. You're not having him sit inside. He's just standing there waiting to come out. You can't reinforce any training in there, but you can reinforce the boundary and making him wait until you allow him to come out. But the sit stay is outside and then waiting to be sent in. And that's the way we're using the crate here. Sit. Whenever we bring him in and out of the house, it's always a sit. We step in. He waits till we step back. I'm going to come out as well. Okay. And now I'll just do a little left turn and sit, just to show you we do both in and out. Here, I want you to see him, so I'm going to scoot him over to the middle of the doorway. He likes to sit over to the left part of the doorway. He's sitting and waiting. I step out. He waits for me to come back next to him. Okay, comes out, and then out here, sit on the porch. This is where we would just allow him to take off the leash and allow him to go, be free, have a little free time.